Colour of Eden was a project that Con oh, sorry, you're up there, you've moved, that Con brought to me. Con was involved with Noel's shoot, and Con came to me with Colour of Eden, and it's a really exciting project. So we'll just roll the reel, and then we'll talk to you about, Con will talk to you about Colour of Eden.
I am screaming inside.
We were once, but when we turned toward ourselves, we were lost. I have failed many times at being a man, but oh, the sweet taste of grace.
You didn't mean to. You made a choice, Yvette. You made a choice.
Matthew, forgive me.
I don't know how to keep living.
I learned something in the darkest of places.
I am done.
When all the lights had gone out, there was but one that remained. Come walk with me. The winter is past, and spring sings the first song.
That was The Colour of Eden. That project came about, it was a low budget production, shot in 5 days with a couple of half-day pickup days. I think it's airing on Channel 7 around about Easter Sunday.
I think it's Easter Saturday.
Easter Saturday, I stand corrected. So I think it's something the stations have to provide, some airtime for Christian groups or religious groups, and that's where the money came from to do this project.
Ben Wimpy from Indiamax
Yes.
was going to be joining us, but unfortunately he's in the US for us, fortunately for him.
Yep. So Ben Wimpy approached me to work on this project, and immediately I thought, having just worked with Noel on the other Colours of Melbourne shoot, I thought this would be great to associate this project with this camera, because the producer Ben did say he wanted a different look. He wanted something, something different. So I thought immediately that this camera would be the right fit for the project. And as it turned out, it could have been. It turned out to be the only camera that would have allowed us to shoot in 5 days. I sat down with the director for 5 days to do a shot list. We shot listed everything, and it was our wish list. And the producer was Ben Wimpy, and also the first AD said, "You guys have got too many shots," as you always do. But we thought, okay, we'll pull it back as much as we can and stuff like that. But you'll find out as I talk further, the main feature of the camera, which I've come to know is its biggest feature, is the 5000 ASA. It got me out of trouble more than once, and which allowed me to shoot quickly, efficiently, but still maintain a good, beautiful look. Anyway, I've got some photos that I'll use just to trigger some conversation. These were photos we took during the production. That's Warren Tidgeon there, cinematographer, and he's also got a Steadicam rig, so he was there with us for 3 days. As you can see there, we had the Pix 240 on top of there, because I picked up the camera on the Friday from Rob, and we did 2 or 3 hours prep very hurriedly at the office. The editor didn't really have much time to do some tests to evaluate codecs and workflow and all that, so it was all done during the production, to be honest. But he was very nervous. He was cutting on Avid. He goes, "I want Avid DNX. Give me Avid DNX as my proxy files and stuff like that." I said, no, you don't need it. It records to 4K, it records to 1080, plus you've got proxy recordings. you don't need the thing. But couldn't convince him. Poor old Warren there had to balance the camera with that thing on, and the behind the scenes guy put the GoPro on there because he probably saw it on one of those YouTube videos, so he thought it'd be cool to put it on ours. On the second day, we got rid of it. One, because I think the editor sort of worked out the workflow a little bit better and realised, no, I don't need that crutch. But it is possible if you want to do that, you can do it. But why would you when you got 3 recordings anyway? 4K 1080 and your standard def proxy files. I'll try and hurry this along so I don't take too much time. There's Warren again with his heavy Steadicam. And another shot with Warren there, trimming. Oh, also on the camera we had the Shogun. Now, although I can't get 4K into the Shogun, because at the moment the camera only does a quad out 4K, and you need a converter then to convert it to a 6G SDI, and I did buy a Blackmagic converter to do that, but unfortunately, what was the issue? The Shogun, the Atomos 6G and the Blackmagic 6D are not the same standard. So the 6G standard hasn't been ratified yet, so it's all over the place. But eventually when they standardise it, maybe the two will work, and then I will be able to get, if you want another flavour of Avid DNX or ProRes into the Shogun, you'll be able to do it. But mainly we used the focus pullers, which was Aldi first AC in the first picture. They used it just as an AC monitor. It's very sharp, very good. You can zoom in and move the focus around, so they loved it for that. So that predominantly stayed on the camera as an AC monitor. Here it is, the Vericam on the jib. So, you know, we put the camera through its paces in that it went on Steadicam, no problem. Yeah, okay, it's a little heavy on the heavy side, but so is the Alexa. And Steadicam guys will always complain about how heavy the cameras are. As you can see there, yeah, okay, with a full rig on the jib, there are a few weights there. Does this have a laser pointer?
Yep.
Oh, it does. Yeah, good. Is it the top one? Yes, it is. Yeah, I can't, doesn't show. Yeah. As you can see, there's a few weights at the back there, you know, but I believe there is a cable coming that you can separate. That's another beauty about the camera. You can separate the camera head from the camera recorder, which would make the front end a lot lighter, so you wouldn't have to have as many weights at the back. You can have the recorder at the back. How long's the cable going to be?
5 or 30 metres.
5 or 30 metres. So that'll be an option in the future. But just to go quickly back, yeah, what did I press? Yeah. Yeah, it is a full production camera of the realm of the Alexas and stuff like that. So you want to put it on the jib, on a Steadicam, not a problem. What did I want to talk about here? We shot in 3840 with 2160 in 16:9 aspect ratio because it's going for TV. Obviously, if we were going for cinema, it would have been 4096 by 2160. So it's good that you have both options because some cameras will only give you that option, the 3840 by 2160 in 4K. What else? This was 800. Yeah, nothing else I want to show there. Again, another jib shot. This is that shot, the first shot in the trailer where we elevate up through the trees. Yeah. This was Luke Skilbeck owns the Jimmy Jib here. And here's a nice sexy photo of the camera. I couldn't help myself but take lots of photos of the camera because I think it looks really nice. We had the IDX CW7 as a director's viewfinder, and I had the Vocus handles on the front. As the guys have said, handheld mode, fantastic. It's the first camera straight out of the box, apart from the handles, which are mine, that I've put on my shoulder, and oh wow, it's great. It feels great. Albeit, yeah, I've got the CW7 and a heavy-duty battery on the back, but there was no, you know, like I've put the F5, F55 on my shoulder, and it's out here. It's all front heavy, and even with the Vocus thing, it's a little better, but not, you know. This straight out of the box on my shoulder feels good. So yeah, as far as handheld, really, really well balanced. So they got that right, as you can see there. Yes, I believe it does, and that comes with the camera. Yep, yeah, and this one has it. Yes, it does slide, so you can fine tune it as yeah. There's that range of movement.
A big range on it.
Yeah, so they've got that part right as far as the ergonomics of. Because a lot of manufacturers really neglect that side of things, the ergonomics and how it sits. Because a lot of times, as all the cinematographers in this room know, you're shooting handheld half, if not a third of the time. And this is my camera department. Aldi on the left is first AC, and Haley second AC. They were great. They're ex-SAE graduates, so they were really, really good and really helped us meet our schedule. Oh, this scene here. We came to do this scene, and the Steadicam Warren had to go around the bed. It was freestyling, sort of. Yeah, the parents with the baby on the bed, sort of just looking at the baby, and he had to just go around and do various shots. So I thought, how am I going to light this without getting his shadow on the bed when he goes around to the other side? And when art department finished dressing the set, I go, my goodness, this is the ambience. The ambience is right here. Why do I need to recreate it? I can't recreate this. I could try, but I could spend a lot of time trying to recreate it. So this was one of the first times I flicked the camera to 5000 ISO and said, let's shoot. And you can imagine how quickly that was to be able to say that. I think I might have just had a HMI out the window there just lighting up the trees, but everything in this shot was lit just with practicals. And it looked great. If you remember in the trailer, the shot of the baby, that was just the little bedside lamp. And it just allowed us to shoot very quickly, but again, it allowed me to shoot the ambience that was there in the room. So another benefit of the 5000 ISO. That's that shot there. We were stuck in the closet just so we'd be out of the way of the Steadicam because he was going to move around and point the camera in all directions. Loved the Panasonic monitor. Even though it's an old model, I still think it produces great pictures, and it has been a standard for quite a long time. Now, people who've been shooting on Sony cameras, whatever cameras, they all have these monitors, and it worked really well with the wireless transmitter as well. Here's another shot. See where Warren's at the front. If I'd lit everything coming, say, from outside from the window with a HMI, say it's moonlight or whatever, he would have had his shadow go across them and so forth. So I didn't want to do that. Here's another shot here, another scene. I did have the HMI coming in from moonlight, daylight. As you can see on the right there, I've got a little LED augmenting the light coming from the lamp just to give them a bit more modelling for the baby and the mother. But one thing Andrew Locke, who was the gaffer on this shoot, said it was a real revelation to him, is that he's going to have to go out and buy some really good quality low-powered LED lights, because he's all of a sudden come to the epiphany that this is going to become a regular thing. Cameras are going to get faster with less noise. You're not going to need as much high-powered lighting. So, yeah, a lot of times I use these little LED panels, which belong to Ben, actually, just for little edges or kicks or a bit of fill. So, again, that's the HMI, and that is all we use to light. As you can see there, where it says system, three recordings were on the master recorder, 4K 3840 by 2160. On the micro P2 cards, the sub recorder, we recorded in 1920 by 1080, plus the P for proxy file. So that meant one of the things Ben said on the previous production he had worked on, he purposely hired a DIT, so he'd have rushes to look at the end of each day or following day. And on the first day of the shoot or the second day or whatever, he went up to me and said, so can I look at any rushes? He said, oh no, I'm still converting them. He goes, well, what was the point of me getting you, you know? Because as we all know, we all like to look at rushes as soon as possible. With this camera, the rushes are ready to go to upload. We didn't end up uploading it to any FTP site or anything like that for people to download to watch. He just ended up putting it on Ben's iPad. So at any one point, and sometimes for continuity, we used to get the the data wrangler, bring the iPad. We just want to check some shots of a previous day that we shot. But it's all created in the camera. There's no conversion and waiting to go from 4K to whatever proxy file you want. So that's another big benefit of the camera that we found. And as you can see, I think that was a mistake. We mostly shot 4K 444, but for some reason we're in 4K 422. I think when we were over cranking to 50 frames, you have to be in that mode. Moving right along, another camera porn shot, because I love taking shots of the camera with my GH4 on it. This day I think we had Lewis pull out. Predominantly we used a 19 to 90 Cabrio lens on it. One thing I found, and I didn't do anything about it till the fourth day, the lens didn't talk to the camera very well because the iris kept creeping. And I go, I'm sure it's the dip switches. I had this problem before with the F5 not working with my zoom demand, and I suspected it was the dip switches in front of the lens. And on the fourth day I got sick of it because we used to tape the lens, the iris, to lock it in. I go, oh, I'm sick of this. So I just got into the front of the lens where the dip switches are, and the first dip switch I switched solved the problem. I go, oh, I should have done that on day one. But that's something you got to just, had we more time for prep and stuff, maybe we could have resolved that earlier. But that was predominantly the main lens that Rob was able to get for us with the camera. And we were very grateful to have such a great lens, and it worked a treat. We mostly had it on the Steadicam. I think on the first day with Warren on the Steadicam, we had the Canon 15 to 45. Great, but we found we could stay on this lens. The whole thing was shot on this lens, which was great. It looked great. As you can see, now someone asked me on Wednesday in Sydney, how long does the battery last? What's the wattage on draw on the camera and the body? It's 16 power consumption. 69. Yeah, if you're shooting 4K at 120. So that's a 230 watt hour battery, and I mean, I wasn't changing them, the assistants were changing, but I got the impression we were getting about, an hour and a half to 2 hours on the biggest 230 watt hour batteries, which is not bad for a camera, especially in this league. Because as we know, the Alexas are very power hungry as well. James's Steadicam rig. As you can see, James complained it was a little heavy, but he didn't have much time for prep too. He said if he had more time for prep, he probably would have got rid of the matte box and put a lighter matte box on and tried to get it a little lower. As you can see, he's got 4 batteries down the bottom just to counteract the balance. But we had him for a whole day that day because Warren couldn't make it that day, and we shot some great stuff. So I think every Steadicam person complains about the weight of the camera, but it's no hindrance to actually using it and getting great pictures. And we did get some great Steadicam stuff. And this is a quick upside down mode, low mode, sorry. One of the features I've asked Tucker to include in the next firmware update is a invert mode direct in the camera. So if we're playing back rushes, we don't have to watch them with our heads upside down. And it just, obviously in post, you'd flip the image. And this just saved a lot of time rather than having to re-rig the camera from the handle and stuff. We just said, let's just quickly do it this way, and we can keep shooting quickly and just flip it in post. But it'd be nice to have the mode in the camera where you can flip the image. So hopefully that'll come in the next one.
Yeah, we are working.
Yep. So if you have any requests, this is the man.
Yeah, for me, this is a good time to get the voice of customers.
Voice of customers. He's here to listen to our voice. Again, rushing off to another setup. It was a real go production, but it was amazing that we actually shot the thing in the 5 days that we did. But the fact that we shot listed and had that language between me and the director, we knew what we wanted. Okay, it was very ambitious, as Ben kept reminding us, but we got through it. And a lot of that was because of the 5000 ISO, mainly because of that. Didn't need as much lighting as you probably would normally need to take. more behind the scenes shots. Oh, have a look at this. This again was, I think, 5000 ISO. We were shooting at dusk, and boy, were we losing the light very quickly. I said, come on, the light's perfect, let's shoot now, let's shoot now. But invariably there's delays, art department's got to dress, or we had a whole group of people, you know, wrangling a whole group of people, you know, it can be. So as you can see there, it's pretty dark, but the monitor's looking at, and what was my stop there? Does it tell me the stop? I can't see it, but I had plenty of room to work with. I had plenty of room. That's another thing I love. I flicked it to 5000 ISO and I'm at 5, 6 or 8. And then as it keeps getting darker and darker, I'm just opening up, and allow me to keep shooting. As you'll see next, look at that. We lost the sky. It got dark. But we shot tighter stuff, the close-ups. We did have you know, Andrew Locke. I got him to put a HMI on the trees in the background. You can't see it from this angle, but further around where we shot a close-up, we see he lit the trees in the background, so I had something in the background. And it was a close-up here and a two-shot of them up the top as well. And the beach is mostly lit with big LED panels, so not very strong lights, but enough. But as you can see on the waveform on the monitor, at 5000 ISO with the tighter shots, we really got away with it, I think. With the grade, I think we can smooth it all out to look, yeah, like it was all about the same time. But try doing that with any other camera at this present time. So I can't stress enough how big a deal I think the 5000 ISO is. It's certainly helped me plenty of times on this shoot. This is just to show that, yeah, without the matte box and all that, you can get this camera inside a car in handheld mode. And this was a POV shot that we did. This was a rain sequence shot. I love this shot. It looked great, backlit and stuff like that. I think that was a 575 HMI on the left there, and we had another a 1.2K on the back. In the end, the generator ran out of petrol, so we ended up putting an LED light on that side, and it still worked fine. And we did shoot a lot of high-speed stuff. Another shot of Warren, yeah, 50 frames. That's Amy Dwight there on the right, the writer-director. Warren again rehearsing the shot. And that's camera department, Aldi, Haley, myself, Haley, and Warren again. And yeah, look, as much as I pushed for a grip department, I think the budget didn't stretch that far, but I was thankful I had a gaffer. And even though this camera is really, really sensitive, and I think Noel said it, doesn't mean you don't need to light. You still need to have the light in the right place and, you know, augment some stuff, but it just allows you to keep shooting where in other instances it get too dark, even with a lighting package. So yeah, I think, you know, having a gaffer and being able to light scenes properly still makes the production values elevate a whole heap. And that was the colour of reading. Any questions?
Can you hear the camera?
Yes, good question. Yes. Jim Dunwoody was the sound recorders, and there was a bit of a complaint that the fan noise was a little high, but that's a firmware issue that they're going to address, where like the Red had the same issue. As soon as you hit record, I believe they'll shut down the fan and then stuff like that. So a little noisy, not extremely noisy, but it was audible, so Jim did sort of complain a little bit.
Yeah, we are working. We are working in it.
That will be addressed very shortly.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's more a codec issue. Codec is the one thing which causes more power consumption, ups the fan because of the heat. But it will be addressed.
But minor things that all can be fixed through software. Anyway, I loved using this camera, and I can't wait for another opportunity to shoot with it. I'm sure that shooting with the Alexa is the same. I haven't had many opportunities to shoot with the Alexa, but again, the Alexa can't shoot 5000 ISO, and it doesn't have the 3 recordings on board like this does. I don't believe, unless you're shooting codecs. Can you shoot codecs and S/S at the same time on the Alexa? You can. All right. They got a 3rd recording. They don't have proxy yet. Well, there you go. There's one up. So yeah, really love the camera, and thank you very much.